Oh, we are having all kinds of fun. Look at that. It's all gone cactus again.
Hey, look, it's James's chat.
Have I just... What's going on?
For some reason, you've now got selected as a screen to view your desktop. I can see your messages.
Oh, man, this is terrible.
That's awesome news. That's all I can see. You might want to...
I don't even...
might want to...
Hang on.
Close your chats.
What's happened to the... Oh, bloody Nora.
Hi, James. This is just it's just a typical thing at the moment every Friday night.
Every Friday night there's an issue. Hang on, it's saying YouTube chat. I don't even know if this is. I don't even know if this is coming up on it now, but
it looks like you've got like a selected window to view, and it's just maybe if you close your Facebook Messenger tabs, it might pop up. Hi, Christy. People are chatting. Look at that.
don't know what's. I can't see it because my thing's not working. Hang on.
You're going dumb, brokered.
Everything is going bananas.
It was working like 20 seconds ago.
It was working, I know. Where's that screen one gone? Did I just close the screen that I'm trying to actually...
I'd assume so.
Oh, hang on. You can talk. You keep talking while I get this thing sorted out.
I'm just having a laugh more than anything.
This is the typical thing. Tune in on a Friday night to see what kind of things are going pear-shaped for the guys.
Yes. Look, I suppose it's entertaining for some.
Righto, where are we?
Maybe by some
it's not that one.
stroke of luck, you might be able to bring it in.
Is that working now?
I don't know.
Why is everybody
before I
now?
can see it?
It's not coming through.
What if you do the old quick scene change and then change back to that scene?
I might have to do something like that. Hang on. Oh, that's interesting. I'm scared about what might pop up.
As long as you got nothing naughty open, we're okay.
No, I don't have anything naughty open. But...
there we go.
There we go. I'm not touching. I'm not touching another thing now. It can stay like that. But why isn't anybody else coming up in it?
What do you mean?
I can see everybody's. I can see everybody's chats coming up in the other page, but they're not coming up on that one. Hang on. I think I know what the problem is. Live chat. It might not work until people start.
But there's people talking. James and Christy are in there talking at the moment.
Yeah, so why isn't that coming? All right, I will keep delving. Hang on, I've got too many screens.
Mark S. How we going, Mark?
No, it's not a nice one yet. We're still having our technical glitches, which it was all working perfectly fine until everybody started coming in, and now it's gone absolutely bums up.
Don't blame the viewers.
No, it's not the viewers.
Well, it's good to have people in here.
I wonder if I can just screen grab that one and change it. Hang on, let's have a look.
Maybe.
Where are we?
Have you got it as a pop-out chat and then you're screen grabbing the pop-out chat, or?
No, but I'm going to try that now.
Hey.
It's not showing up.
So apart from this, how was your day?
Oh, I've had an absolute shocker of a day.
So this is just fitting in perfectly?
Yeah.
Alright, so we've got James, Christy, Mark. It's a good start. It's better than last week.
It is, but we've hang on. I'm gonna create a new one. So sorry guys, we will get there. We are. Yeah, we are endeavouring.
It's yes.
It was working. It was working.
Look, if the layout was a person playing sports, it'd be picked last.
New. Let me have a look.
So James, what's new? What's going on with all of you guys that are watching? What's going on?
Yeah.
I can see everything you're doing on your screen.
Can you?
Mm-hmm.
In that case, delete that one then. This isn't supposed to be going like this.
No.
Oh,
I just don't want someone getting your banking details or whatever it is. It might pop up.
yeah, they laugh if they saw my banking details and try and send us some money.
We had someone break into our place. They left $10 on the fridge and said sorry.
Window display capture, maybe? No, that's the whole. Oh, that'll pull up everything though, won't it?
It depends on what you're capturing. Some people don't understand that how much
Browser
effort
maybe.
goes into
No.
trying to get these layouts to work.
Like I said, it was all working perfectly fine a few minutes ago, and now.
How was your live stream? It was great. We spent the whole stream trying to fix it.
Yeah, like, subscribe, offer any advice you can on getting a stream to work as it should.
I'm sure James will have some answers.
I'm just trying to work out which one's probably the best one to. Would it be a scene? No, that's a scene in this. See, people are now realizing how techno dweeby I actually am. All right, they may see some weird stuff pop up, but let's have a look and see what we're gonna get. There we go. I'll go okay to that. And now I'm gonna try and
turn it off and on again.
No, I'm just gonna.
Hey, Mark.
I'm just gonna.
Mark must work in tech support. I look, in my line of work, it's always if it doesn't work the first time, get a bigger hammer.
Reboot. Yeah.
Get a bigger hammer.
We're almost there. I can see it starting to work now. See?
Yeah, it is starting to work. You're getting there. There we go. We're getting there.
See? And now it's time to go, guys.
What?
Nah, I'm just making it a bit bigger so blind people like me can actually read it.
Now, why would you want to do that?
Oh, hang
So
on.
yeah, anything interesting happened in any of the viewers' days today?
It's going upside down. So we'll start there. We'll do. That'll do. Hang on, can we make it sort of semi-transparent? Oh, bugger it, I'm not playing anymore. There we go, we are now. We do have chat going.
Gary,
Do you reckon we should start again now?
You got a black line at the bottom.
A what?
Slowly but surely drew their plans. Yeah.
They drew their plans against us. No, it's actually a grey line. All right, there may be a slight little thing at the top, but yeah.
That's all right. It is what it is for now. We can sort it out later. It works.
That's...
Hey, look, it's like riding a bike. Sometimes you just fall off and people laugh.
That happened to me a lot. Until I learned how to ride properly anyway. So how is everybody? How many people have we got in tonight? I don't know.
We got Mark S, James H, Christy.
Hey,
Yes.
Christy. Hi, Mark. James. I know James wants to call in. He's got a new microphone he wants to crank up and see if it works. So.
What sort of microphone did you buy, James? I bought an SMB7.
SM7B.
Same thing. It's just a Wish
Get it
version.
right. Thank you, James. Yeah, we got it going. But now nobody's commenting, so...
Hey, look, we've got a steady chat.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, I thought tonight, I don't know how many people are interested, but it came up in the Wappa page last week about the York Hospital going up for sale. So I thought we could have a bit of a chat about that and what people have heard, the stories they've heard about the old York Hospital, and if you've had any experiences there. So we were actually there not long ago, and well, not at the hospital itself, but we were up in York, and we paid the old girl a visit, and she's still creepy as ever. And then we get back and we find out she's now for sale. So,
If I had the money.
well, that's what happened on the Facebook chat in the WAPA page. Is everybody's going? If it was the big lotto win, the big Powerball
Yeah,
thing.
the 100 million, yeah.
and everybody's going, if I win it, I'm buying it. So there would have been a whole load of people from WAPA turning up for a bloody creepy auction.
I would have bought the bloody thing as well.
Well, it's still for sale, and I was
I
telling you.
haven't won lotto yet.
Well, I was telling you a few things earlier, which we're not allowed to sort of go into, but we know a little bit about what's going on. So,
Hey, do you know how cool it would be if you actually won the lotto and then, then you just set it out as an overnight hostel?
I forgot to put my little blue light on.
Oh no!
All the things going wrong tonight. Boom, there we go. Lights up on the microphone.
It is a very nice building. Hi, James.
And it's not just the building. If you actually read the for sale thing on the information on it, there's actually about 3 or 4 outbuildings that come with it as well, actual residences as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that would have been one of them. Will be the new studio, and
If you get a gambling license, you can have a casino in there.
no, I wouldn't do that. The only thing I don't like about it is if you actually look at all the photos and everything on the real estate site, they've literally just about painted every room inside pink, and not just like a very subtle pink. It's a very, very, very
Three what? Oh, 3 houses.
Oh, there
3
we go.
hostels. And we should look at what parts are renovated and what parts are original. Look, well, I don't
Definitely.
think it matters what's original and what's been renovated. You've still got residual energy,
Well, this
spirit.
is this is the thing. When it, I mean, I think everybody here in WA knows about the story that happened in 1980, and what gave it its actual reputation of being haunted. And even in our page, a lot of people know a lot of the information about what's going on there and stuff, But when it was when the National Trust sold it, because it's privately owned at the moment, obviously up for sale again, they had to have it cleared so many times, and I'm wondering if the reason why it's going up for sale, because you don't usually sell an old girl like that, is if maybe the activity's starting to come back.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, it was pretty full on, and in fact, a bit later on in tonight's live broadcast, I've actually found one of the original interviews that they did with the people that were actually there, and like I said, the actual story that gave it its infamous reputation was in 1980, and this interview actually aired in 1989. So when we do play it, we would like to excuse the really bad hair, the smoking on camera while they're being interviewed, and the really bad quality of the whole thing. But there's a few sound effects in there which are absolutely shocking, but it gives you a very good indication from actual people that were there when this happened as to the kind of activity that happened in that building. And it's ridiculous.
We've even had stories of stuff happening as early as the 1920s in that building.
Oh yeah, I've no doubt, but when the building is actually still in operation as a hospital or whatever it may have been, you would tend to discount a lot of that stuff because there's so many people around. It's when there's only a few people in there and stuff starts happening, that's when you start realizing there's a lot more to it.
Well, you can say the same thing for the Camp Quarren.
Did you see what Christy just wrote?
When I was in primary school at a school camp, said, "Christy, I am jealous."
Yeah,
Very jealous.
did anything happen when you were there? Oh, that's right. There's about a 30-second delay.
Yeah, there is a delay.
Yeah.
The hospital ceased operation in '63, then became a hostel.
Yes, yeah, and that's what it was when these this youth camp or whatever they were. They used to do them all the time, and
Well, that's what I mean. They were strictly told though not to go upstairs.
yes,
Like, obviously, hey, there's a reason. Don't go upstairs.
yeah, but there's also, what we're like. You tell us not to do something. What's the first thing you want to do?
Look, if someone turned to you and said, "Don't go upstairs," and you knew the place had some sort of background to what it had, of course you're going to go looking.
Definitely.
like moaning sounds coming from walls, apparitions, you name it.
Oh yeah, the whole lot. And like I said, I'll play the video once there's a few more people in and everything. I'll play this video. It goes for about 10 or 15 minutes, and like I said, it's an original from the 80s, so it's pretty bad quality, but you do get a very good idea of the kind of activity that was there. And these people do come across as very genuine. You know, this was before the days of YouTube. It was before the bloody internet, really. You know what I mean? So, and back then, there isn't that culture of faking stuff like there is now.
Okay, there you go. Christy. Christy just said it was very airy. We never allowed upstairs because apparently a nurse had hung themselves up there.
Eerie. Yes, so you weren't allowed up there either. That's what they were saying about. That's what they'll say in this interview that we'll play. So,
I hadn't heard much about it, but I didn't know that a nurse had hung themselves.
No, I haven't heard that. Like I said, I don't know much about the history of it, other than I'll tell you the first time I actually heard about it was I had my cousin coming out from England, and I had to stay up late because it was one of those stupid o'clock planes that was arriving from the UK. So I was sat up by myself, and it was an actual show. It could possibly have even been this one, but it was about other hauntings as well throughout WA, and there was a few from over east. But they went into the York Hospital, and it gave me goosebumps even watching that, you know. And back then, I used to do my own research, but I hadn't done much on WA because I was still sort of looking at a lot of stuff from the UK and things like that at the time. You know, I wasn't like an active with all the gear. I was just researching different stories and things. But at that point in my life, I had more important things, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, what I'll do, if you're all keen, I'll put this little bit of a video on for you all to watch, and then we can discuss it afterwards. And then what we will do is, if anybody wants to call in, I know James wants to call in, so after this video we'll look at taking a few calls and see what happens from there. Okay, so here we go, guys. Enjoy this little video. I hope you can hear it all.
The old York Hospital was built in 1896 to serve the farming district and is on the site of a convict depot opposite the town cemetery. The hospital was used mainly by poorer residents. Wealthier people were nursed in their own home, where surgery was carried out on the kitchen table or in the patient's room. The building is now owned by the National Trust, which leases it to the state government as a youth hostel. In January 1980, a group of 5 adults and 28 children from a little athletics club 144 kilometers away traveled to York Hospital for a camping holiday. But their holiday was to become a nightmare.
We were told not to go upstairs at all.
Did you go upstairs at any stage?
Yes, we went up the first night. The reason we went up the first night, because it was such a very, very hot time, and the children were very hot. And I suggested, if we had a look upstairs, being up high, there may be more breeze coming through for the children to sleep up there. And of course, Paul and Mrs. Kramer went upstairs. But when they came downstairs, they were very pale, and they said there's something wrong with the place up there.
We went up there with torches, and we got midway along the dormitory, and our torches went out. We had this howling wind coming down from the chimney, and with 47 degrees outside, there was no way that there could have been any wind.
We walked past the fireplace in the middle of the room, and both our torches went out. Now, at first I thought it was just my torch blowing, so we walked back 3 or 4 times, and again they went on and off, you know, corresponding as to when we were in front of the fireplace, and there again when we sort of came past the fireplace. But again, every time we walked in front of the fireplace, about 2 or 3 metres, they actually went off and came back on again.
things happen, you know your torch has gone out, and you know the other person's torch has gone out. We sort of looked at the torches to see if there's anything wrong with them. As I say, they came back on their own accord.
There was a foul smell which came from the small attic which was up the top. To me, it smelled as something dead, sort of like a dead animal or something. A very, very foul stench.
They said, well, you couldn't put the children up there because there's something strange up there. And then we're sitting there for a while, and this terrible moaning noise started. Well, at first you'd say it was the wind, but then when you look and you say, well, there wasn't any wind. It was so hot and still at York. So it wasn't wind, but then it got louder, and was a definite sound of a woman crying, in pain, moaning.
It was a definite noise, which wasn't the rustle of the trees. It wasn't any wind. And the only way you could explain it was as a moaning.
It was frightening. It was very frightening because you'd swear there was someone up there in terrible pain. But I mean, because there wasn't anyone there.
Why did you not leave then?
Well, we're in a position, to be honest with you. As I said, we hired a bus, and Maureen's husband was kind enough to take the day off and drive us there, and he was to pick us up in a week's time, and that's all we could do. We had no transport there. We didn't have a car. Little did we know these kind of things would happen. I mean, you wouldn't have gone in the first place, would you?
But at this early stage, did you think the building was haunted, or did you think something else?
Mrs. Kramer had thought the place was haunted. And of course, I said, don't be stupid. Your imagination's running a little bit wild here. And of course, Paul said to me, Mum, there's something definitely wrong here. Well, the first thing that happened that morning, Maureen and I got up to get the children's breakfast. We went into the kitchen. We got the milk. And I had this crockery jug, which I put on the bench. And I walked across to Maureen. And the next thing, out of the corner of my eye, I could see this jug lift and come across, just float straight across the room at it.
I just stood there watching it. I couldn't believe my eyes. It moved, and it came to the end, and instead of toppling off like things normally do, it just floated.
It was very hard to believe. And of course, I thought then, well, it didn't just fall on the floor, it definitely floated. And of course, Maureen and I stood there shocked. We were shocked. Then the next thing, the stove would turn on and off. While you were using it, it had just turned itself on and off. It was a very queer thing that kept happening in that kitchen.
Did anything else around the place move?
Yeah, and the doorknobs. You'd be standing outside and they'd be spinning. Just absolutely spinning. And there was nobody else on the other side or anything because we checked all that. But they were just spinning, the doorknobs spun.
For some reason, I was just walking past the main staircase which went upstairs, and came to my notice, and getting one of the ladies, there seemed to be blood coming from within the staircase, sort of running out on the outside of the staircase. The actual lady tasted it to check that it really was blood, and she said it was, and it definitely looked like, I didn't personally taste it, but she did, and she said it definitely tasted like blood, and it certainly looked like blood. It was trickling out at probably a constant rate. It sort of, if I was sort of trying to give you a quantity, it probably would have been, if I mopped it up, I might have probably filled a full face cloth type thing if I mopped it up.
Well, the worst thing that happened there, we had a little girl there, and she was playing, running along the hallway. And the next thing she screamed, and because when she came down to us, her wrist was cut right open, terrible gash she had.
The girl was actually somehow thrown through the window, arm first. She, I think, from memory search, had 12 or 15 stitches inserted in her arm.
Now, this little girl, she's only a little tot, that's all. It would be impossible for her to fall and her arm to go through that glass. It was too high for the child.
How high was the glass from the floor?
Probably at 3.5 to 4 foot.
How tall was the girl?
Well, she was only about 8 years old, probably 4 foot herself.
They had to get a plank of wood and smash the glass out. It's the only way you could get it out. So we couldn't work it out.
Did you only hear the moaning the once?
No, the moaning was every night. And it even got to the stage where a couple of afternoons, where I was left with the children by myself, a couple of children, it continued then. But it was every night.
You know that there are people watching saying, what a pack of nonsense.
Oh, yeah. We've sort of been through this before. It just, things happen, you sort of tell them as you see them.
But this really did happen?
Oh, yeah.
The 3 witnesses say the frightening phenomena continued at York Hostel for 4 days without anyone seeing a ghost. But they suspected the disturbances were coming from the locked room upstairs, where Paul Harrison and Maureen Kramer first experienced a foul smell and cold wind. Legend has it that in the old days, patients who had died and those who were about to die were kept together in that section of the hospital. Locals call it the morgue or dying room. And it's said that on certain nights, the ghost of a former matron who died violently at the old hospital can be heard moaning as it wanders along the upstairs wards. On the final night of their stay, something happened which forced the 3 adults to gather their courage and pay a last visit to the dying room on the top floor.
I saw what I can only describe as an apparition on the stairs. It's just like a fleeting object. I can't really describe what it was. All I know is it was absolutely petrified me.
She said to me, there's something floating up the staircase. Because as we turned around and looked at her, her face had changed completely. You'd never recognise the woman. At first I got frightened. I would have said the woman had had a stroke because her face was so twisted you wouldn't have recognised her.
Apparently, from what I can gather, I knew nothing else for a few minutes, and then we heard this almighty bang.
An extremely loud explosion seemed to come from, well, very close. Originally we thought it was a gas heater or a water heater or something blowing up.
I had to investigate. I couldn't work it out. But I only got to the second landing, and a terrible feeling came over me, like pins and needles, and I couldn't move. And you felt very, very old, like you'd aged. I felt like I'd aged. But then the pins and needles left me, but I didn't continue. I came back down. Paul and Mrs. Kramer continued up and looked in this small room.
It was open. It actually blown open, and it was fixed right the way back. The bolt was back and the lock was off.
Did you get any sensation while you were there from that particular room?
Yes, I couldn't put my foot over the threshold. I felt nauseated every time I went near the place. It was uncanny.
It was only a very, very small room, and it didn't appear to be anything in there, but the smell was still in there.
I was going to go and ask for help to take these children out that night because I said I can't stay here another night, but we had to. There was nothing more we could do.
What did you in fact do then?
Well, we all went into the one room. I know it's going to sound silly, but we had, one of them had a baseball bat, cricket stumps, and even one of the ladies had a can of pressure-packed fly spray. I know it sounds so stupid. What we're going to do with it, I don't really know, but then we had, everything was quiet for a while, and then this friend that was with us, she was laying on the bed and she started screaming out, they've got me by the throat. And of course we said to her, wake up, you're having a sleep, but she wasn't asleep. And because when we turned the light on, I said, you've only had a sleep. I said, it's been too much for you. But when we looked, there's definite marks on her throat. And of course I think that was the last straw. I mean, that definitely, she said she had me by the throat, and there was definite marks on that woman's throat. She said to me, don't go on your bed, there's something at your window, Joan. And I said to her, no, I said, there's nothing at the window. But I did, I pulled the curtain back, and there was the figure at the window.
Can you describe it?
It was a very big woman, very, very big woman, like matronly sort of a woman. And all you can see, it was the body, the head, but her arms were folded like that. Yet I lifted the curtain, and it shows you what shock does to people, because I must have been in shock. I just kept staring at it. Then I put the curtain back, and I said to him, there's nothing. No, I thought, no, I'm not seeing it. So I laid on the bed, and I thought, no, I've got to look again. And I did look again, and it was still there. The next morning, we were up, out, and waiting for that bus.
I really can't give an explanation. A lot of things just happened. I've got no explanation whatsoever. I'm absolutely stumped.
Well, there you go. So what do you think of that?
Yes, it's different. I could have picked better things to have beside me rather than cricket stumps and a bat and fly spray.
I was going to say, you know, the old hit 'em with the old P bow. I don't know if
probably Mortine.
I don't know if that works with ghosts, but you know, give it a crack. But there again, you know, I guess they weren't prepared for something like that, were they?
No, well, yeah, how do you prepare for that when you don't know what's going on?
Exactly. Exactly.
But, you know, if you've got some sort of understanding of what the room upstairs was for beforehand, I don't think, unless you're one of us, I don't think you would, or someone like us, I should say, I don't think that you would go up to that room.
Sorry, I was just reading what James was saying. James, if you're wanting to call through now, mate, you're good to call through. I'm all ready to take your call. He's so keen to test his microphone.
James, I'd say in that content and that sort of thing, obviously being back then in minors, I suppose that it wasn't something that was looked upon by the news for children to speak about.
No, that's true. So I'm wondering how far this delay is, because I'm waiting on the call and it hasn't happened yet.
Oh, I think it's about 20 seconds.
Oh no, he's been a bit slack. But yeah, I thought, you know, what other ghost stories have people got out there that they want to talk about? Because I mean, I've got a few, but
there's a couple places in Perth that, you know, are haunted that I didn't even know of.
Here we go.
Like out at New Norcia, apparently the clock tower there is haunted.
Are you there, James?
I am here. How are you guys?
Good.
Holy moly, that sounds much better.
Big improvement, hey?
It's a lot better.
Got some bass to the sound.
So are you going to talk to us, or are you just going to be...
Yeah, I've got some...
Well, he knows it sounds good now, so he's done.
Noise in the background. So, or is that just me? Hang on a sec.
You're sounding good at this end anyway.
All right, sorry, I just had to turn off the other sound because it was feeding back through, so...
Oh, we weren't picking it up. Well, I wasn't anyway.
Yeah, no, it's just me. Don't worry about it. It's all good.
So what do you think about the York Hospital?
Well, when we drove past it, that's actually the first time I've ever driven past the York Hospital. Was when we went up there recently with Mark. Yeah, Mark was driving.
Yep.
From the street view, it doesn't look that menacing, but when we went back there at night, it was different. It felt different. It looked different. It was just different.
I suppose you could say that happens with a lot of things. You see them during the day. There's no shadows. There's no eerie lights. There's no ifs or buts about it. Your head's not playing tricks with you.
Oh, it's a very dark little bit of the world out there.
It is. It was great. You know, just just seeing it during the day at first and thinking, actually, it doesn't look too bad. But then going back at night and it's just the whole feeling changes.
Yeah. I don't know, Mark. I don't know if they're still alive. I would assume the kids are. I'm not sure about the adults, but I would assume if they are, they're probably in their 80s or thereabouts now. So it's very possible they're still alive. Yeah, go on, James. Sorry.
Yeah, all right. But yeah, so like I said in the chat, it would have been interesting to see if some of the, even if they rehashed it a bit, you know, brought it back up to the modern state, have some of the kids that may have stayed there, if the original adults, because one of them looked fairly young, the guy looked fairly young. So you know,
well, he was one of the kids, I think.
Yeah, if they could revisit it and well, not necessarily go there, but you know, have those kids and tell their experiences, because that will be something that will stay with you for a while, especially if you would throw in through a window.
Even if you're the person living next door, I'm sure you get your fair bit of grievances from the bloody place. We've been living in the house next door, or is that all part of the one land?
Between you and me, we know the guy that lives dead across from it, and I think there's like 2 or 3 houses in the street. There's like a little museum next to it, and then you got the old hospital, and then there's 2 or 3 little residences, and there's a lot of roadworks and everything happening there now, so that the road is literally blocked off just past where the hospital is. And
yeah, I've just pulled up a street view of the hospital.
Yep.
And you got a little white house next door to the left of it if you're looking at it.
Yeah.
So that White House are you talking to the left of the main hospital building? That was a maternity wing, if I remember.
Yeah.
The original maternity wing.
And that'll be one of the outhouses that's part of the property sale.
Okay.
So
yeah.
That's what I mean. Like I had read other things on it saying that there was operations and that were happening on tables, like just normal tables.
What I found funny about listening to that interview was they said it was the poor people that were in the hospital, because the richer or well-to-do, the doctors will go out and visit them and they would operate on their own coffee tables and things like that. And I thought, wow,
Real
no.
hygiene. Real hygiene. But
put out the placemats, don't get it dirty. She's right.
Yeah.
Did you guys stay in the beginning of the podcast that they were the activity was starting to ramp up again?
No, what I said was when the National Trust sold it to the private residents and everything like that, they actually had it cleared about 3 or 4 times. So the fact that they had to have it cleared 3 or 4 times tells me that the first couple didn't actually work. So that's why they kept going in. And I'm wondering if, for the reason, because I mean, I don't know why you would sell an old building like that unless you had money troubles or something like that. But from what I understand, it's a doctor that owns the place, and I can't imagine a doctor being short on dollars. But I'm just wondering, and I'm just sort of postulating whether or not the activity is starting to ramp up again, and that's maybe why they're looking at selling it on. Yeah.
Well, they talk about renovations and works around the area that brings out more activity. So it's highly possible with all the roadworks and everything that's going on, because they had new houses being built as well across the road from
disturbing ground.
Yeah, disturbing the ground, making it more active.
And it's funny going back through the chat with what Christy was saying, because she was talking about a matron supposedly hanging or something happening upstairs, and these people's talking about the upstairs being not allowed to go up there, and then the one particular room that was an issue, and then seeing a matron type figure at the window. It ties in a lot with what Christy was talking about.
Yeah. I think Christy might have hit the nail on the head there.
Well, it's interesting. So, Christy, do you want to come on and talk about your experiences on the hospital? Let us know if you do.
What'll be really interesting is if the new owners open it up to the public and possible investigations.
Yes, it would be fantastic.
Could you imagine the exodus on the first night that they had those in Perth?
In all honesty, I don't think there'd be any room in the building for the spirits and stuff, because there'd be too many people in there.
I
That's
think that
right.
would be all that overwhelmed with what's going to happen that something small will happen.
And it'll get blown up into this really big thing.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
You look at it and, like, I don't know whether it's because of the era of the building or what, but it doesn't look like a friendly place.
Well, hospitals were an intimidating building. They still are now. I mean, they tried to doll them up a bit, but
it's got that Clive House feeling to it.
Yeah. But when
just
you're
looking at it
during the day,
it doesn't look that bad during the day. It's not that bad. There's still an air about it.
It doesn't even look like a hospital. That's the thing, right? You would only know it's a hospital if you knew it was a hospital. It just looks like a large mansion type house.
Well, I'll tell you something. About 12 years ago, I was speaking to the Victoria Park Shire, and I was able to orchestrate access to the old Ed Mill building. And that is, again, that's an old hospital. It actually has a crematorium on board, at the back. There's some outbuildings out the back. And then there's another part to the building, to the whole complex to the side, which is a lot newer. But again, it's very creepy. And what they've done is now, because of a lot of vandalism and stuff, they got an electric fence around the whole building. And it was quite literally a lock-in for us, because he said you all have to be in by a certain time. He goes, and I will come, close the gate and activate the electric fence. So there was no getting out until 6 o'clock the next morning. And it's a very, very similar kind of looking building to what this is. A little bit, actually probably even a little bit more creepy. But going into the old thing off to the side, even going in there in the middle of the day, the rooms were pitch black and you needed a torch because you couldn't see. You put your hand up in front, you couldn't even see your own hand. It was that dark. And what I did that night was I said to everybody, I gave everybody a notepad, and I said, you're not going to talk to anybody about what experiences you had and where you had them. I said, write all your notes down in your little books, and then when we come together for the break in the middle of the night, I said we will discuss them all then. And the number of people that actually had the same activity in the same areas but in different groups at different times, it's a bit of a sort of my way of stopping the hearsay thing. You can tell somebody it's happening and then they all start thinking the same thing, but breaking them all up and then pulling all these notepads together and picking all the same stuff, that's a very active place as well, which is something I could probably look into again, because I don't know if their feelings have changed on letting teams in, but we had the place to ourselves for the night. Now the only issue with that is there's no actual plumbing there, so you have to go and pee outside, and you don't want to get too close to that electric fence if you're peeing against it. I've seen videos about that.
That's how you get compelling evidence, right? You get different groups at different times going to the same room, having the same experiences.
Yeah.
And they're writing it down. They're not telling anybody. They're not cross-contaminating everything. They all come back at, well, like you said, midnight. Let's have a chat about what's happened. And they're all coming back with the same results. How can you then deny what's going on? It's just one of those compelling, you just can't get past that, right?
Well, that was part of my reasoning behind doing it, because you have to have some sort of control in place. Otherwise, it's like everybody says, if I tell you something happens in a certain area, you're automatically, any noise, you're going to think it's that, and then it starts its own life. But if you don't tell them a bloody thing, you just give them a notebook and say, you tell me what you see and what you feel and what you sense. And like smells were a big thing there as well, picking up the same sort of smells, which was some very clinical smells. There was some very vile smells, and obviously you mix all that in with the fact that these buildings are, again, the main building's about the same sort of age as the York Hospital, but the outbuildings were probably built in the 50s, and so they're a bit newer. And yeah, it's quite interesting. So it's something that I
Yeah.
definitely want to look at.
Yeah, well, you get the contamination. So, for example, you talk about EVPs, right?
Yep.
So we all watch the paranormal shows, and we all see it. And you see you see them do the EVPs. And they, oh, listen to this, and you're listening, and you're hearing like scratch, 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 rah, rah, rah.
Yeah.
And then they turn around and say, oh, it was, get out, or she said this, and then they'll play it with the subtitles on, and you'll start hearing it. But is that because it's been suggested to you that you can? That's what it is.
Well, I can give you a good example of that, and this isn't a paranormal thing at all. This is if you go on YouTube and you look up Peter Kay misheard audio lyrics.
Wash your back.
Song lyrics.
Well, yeah, and if he actually tells you what he says, and then he plays it, and I shit you not, you actually hear what he says because he puts it in your head. If he didn't say anything, you would hear the song as you would normally hear it. But yeah,
That's what I mean. There's plenty of videos going around with words or not parts of song, but words, and they're like, is it saying this or is it saying this? And as it keeps going, you're hearing one word, and then you hear it change, and then you hear it change back, but it's still the same word that's been said.
exactly. It's all
So if someone's pushing an idea into your head, you're more likely to believe it.
yeah.
Yeah, so that makes the
That's just-
sending different groups into different rooms, having the same experience, coming back, writing it down, not telling anybody until you're gathering all that information together, right?
Exactly.
That
Exactly.
makes it compelling.
It takes the whole hearsay out of it because they're actually reporting what they're experiencing because they don't know what anybody else has experienced. And this is what I do when I take people to some of these big locations. I don't think we did it when we did the courthouse in York because we actually had a lot of people with us on that one, and we had some of the people that were actually associated to the courthouse itself. So it's hard to get them to write things down because they know a lot more about it. But I just said to them, try not to say too much, And one of the big things that we got about that was when we were upstairs. There's a lady there, and she's experienced. Well, she wasn't there on the night, but she's actually in our WAPA page. She could possibly even be watching this, but she was saying about how when she was doing the vacuuming, something would actually pull the cable out, the plug out, and we actually ended up using the spirit box and things like that. And not only did we get the name of the spirit associated. Hang on.
Associated.
Yeah. Now you just lost my mind. I saw this message then.
You said the spirit's associated
with calling out the lady's name. So we asked to say the lady's name, and not only did we get it once, we got it 3 times on call. So that even is a little bit of validation towards the spirit box, which it is very easy to dispel a lot of the stuff that comes through the spirit box as just chitter chatter and stuff like that from the radio. But when you ask for a name and you get that name on call 3 times, that is more than just coincidence. So there is something to it, but I do think you do have to throw out a lot of what you get from that.
Here I am, the person sitting in the corner going, nope, didn't say that.
But this
Full well could have, but no.
But the beauty of that night was there were 3 people that actually are associated with the building and the running of the building that were in this group. It was about 5 of us, I think, in this particular group. We knew nothing as members of WAPA. We knew nothing about what was going on, except that we'd been told that somebody was tugging at the power cord, and it was the people that worked there that asked the questions, and then I asked some of the questions as well, and we were getting direct responses. So it's interesting, and I do think, and that's up in York as well. So York is a fascinating place to go to. We went out there; it was bloody freezing, and I was going to start doing some B-roll because I was going to put a video together on the whole thing, which kind of got a little bit. And that session that I was just telling you about, I do have the video of that, which will go to where later on in the near future. But we went into the main street at about 8:30, 9 o'clock on the Friday night. There wasn't a soul around, and I was trying to do the old talk to the camera thing, and I had the camera on the gimbal, and the gimbal started doing all sorts of weird stuff outside the courthouse itself. So it's interesting because there was no reason why it should have done that.
See, with places like that and you with batteries, they just don't go well together. Anything electronic.
No.
Yeah, I was having troubles with that camera battery. It kept draining real quick, which is the first time it's ever done that. It's just super weird.
Yeah. I'm just going to put up in the chat. If anybody else wants to call in, let me know, and I will give you the instructions to call in.
All right, I'll log off. Oh, so I'll hang up now. So just in case you have somebody else that wants to call in and say hi.
That's not a
But
problem.
thank you for letting me on.
I'll start the chat again.
Not a problem. Take it easy, mate.
So, yeah. That's what I mean, man. There's a lot of locations that we have gone on do go regularly, and it's always the same thing: batteries drain.
Well, that's a big thing to do with the paranormal. It's
Yeah.
if they're
The
trying to
energy.
manifest and do something, they need to draw energy to do it, and they'll take it from wherever they can get it from. And that's part of the reason why when you watch a film, you see the cold spots, because they'll even absorb the heat, the energy from the heat in the room.
Oh,
And
I felt it before myself. You walk through a room, and it's not that it's changing how high away it is from sea level.
no,
It makes the feeling that you're getting is no different from walking through a low point on a road, going through a low point on a road where you get that cold sensation in one spot. It's
well, it's like that time when we were in the tunnel, and we had I think we had 2 or 3 laser thermometers out testing, just surface temperatures and things like that. And it was a fairly still night. There wasn't much going on, and right in the middle of this tunnel, the temperature was all constant, and then on one side of us, it went from like 16 degrees down to 4 degrees. And we not only did it pick up on the thermometer, but we actually commented how we could feel it icy cold down one side, but all right on the other side. And I don't know any kind of temperature fluctuations that can be that specific and that localized that it's freezing there and it's like 10
In a
degrees
spot of,
warmer
like,
right there.
4 meters wide.
Not even. Yeah. So
And you look at the length of that tunnel, and you're sitting
340 odd meters. Yeah.
close enough to the middle, and you're still getting a breeze through there, and it's a still night.
Yeah, you shouldn't be getting a breeze when it's. I can understand it as a bit of a wind tunnel when the wind's blowing, but when it's dead still, what?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What?
So we've had some good stuff on that.
So one of the places I'm thinking about going next is maybe New Nausea.
Yep.
Wouldn't mind. I've been looking up about it, and apparently the clock tower there has some attachments.
The whole place, mate. The whole place. That is as renowned as York Hospital is.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
See, I haven't done into it. Done a little bit of reading, and I was like, yeah, and it's only an hour and a half away.
Yeah. It's not far.
So something that's doable with a small group of us, me and you and whoever else.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to spend a night there. You just go there during the day. I'm sure you'd pick up some things.
Well, it happens day or night. You know what I mean? You're still going to get your energy fluctuations.
There's no witching hour per se. But
Not really. No, not really. I mean, there are certain times when you watch a lot of these shows and they go, we hit the dead hour of 3 a.m. and because
it's like going through. I think it's the RAC list of the most haunted places in WA, and they've got obviously Camp Quarrenup's there,
Been
Abbey
there.
Church Clock Tower in New Nausea,
not yet.
and then you got the Tanami Road in Halls Creek.
Yep.
Now, I used to work Northern Territory in a place called the Tanami, middle of the Tanami Desert. It was a Tanami Hole Road, and apparently one end of that, which is not far, I think it was maybe a 20-minute drive from where we were, was supposed to be one of the most haunted pieces of road.
Yep.
Now, we had gone out there several times and could not get anything. Trying to figure out whether it's is it the right spot, but.
Well, we've done we've done a lot of locations over the years. I mean, we've been through quite a lot. We've been up as far as Gero, down as far as Albany and what have you, just in WA. But I've been through parts of Melbourne doing stuff. I've been to Singapore doing stuff in Singapore. The Devil's Hour is 3 a.m. Yes, that's what I was saying. I did say 3 a.m., but
so they say.
Yeah, so
does that mean you have to believe in the devil for it to be the Devil's Hour?
No, don't get me started on that. You know what I'm like with that sort of stuff. It's just, I don't like bringing religion. I don't like bringing religion into this kind of thing. But yeah, when I was in Singapore, we did some stuff out at where was it? Bukit Chandu, which is where it was basically the last stand when the Japanese invaded in World War II. And we did some stuff with the Singapore paranormal investigators, Desmond, Terrence, and a few of the other guys, and it was absolutely awesome there. But while we were there, we actually went out to the old Changi Hospital. Now, if you talk about intimidating places, you look up the old Changi Hospital. It's actually been renovated now, and we had the cab driver of all cab drivers. He saw I had a couple of cameras with me, and he was like, check out my thing, because they're so protective of in case of an accident over there, that I think he had 15 cameras going throughout the cab, inside and outside, capturing every angle of it. And he talked and talked, and he drove us around for something like 6 hours. And because he was so interested in the paranormal and what we were there for, I think it ended up costing us like $40 for 6 hours of driving around. And this is in in Singapore. But we went to Changi. Now, Changi, if you go there now, obviously you got the Changi prison, went past that. A lot of Changi now is military bases and things like that. All their army and stuff are out there. But the old Changi Hospital, creepy as, and the stories from that place are very intriguing. I'm talking about portals, time shifts, temporal anomalies, hauntings, all sorts of stuff. Now, part of that complex, because there's a number of buildings in the complex, part of it has now been turned into a hotel, and they actually had to have it cleared. And when we were there, I was talking to a couple of the guys on the crew that were actually in there doing the part that they were, and they were saying that they were having all kinds of weird stuff happening while they were actually at work. And this is through the day, But we went off to some of the other creepier parts of it, and we couldn't get right into it because they have this little sign that say trespassers will be shot. So we weren't keen to.
I need one of those.
Keen to push much further than that, but we went into all the bits that we could, and that is an absolutely sensational location. That
it'd be nice to get overseas to a few places like that, just for a trip, just for that sort of stuff.
Well, when I was in Bali last, our driver was telling us about a location they built a hotel on it. It was supposed to be a luxury hotel. I can't remember where it's over the other side of the island, away from Kuta and all of that sort of thing. And what happened was there was that much stuff going on there that they couldn't get anybody to do any of the work on it because of all the superstitious stuff. And they ended up giving up on it, and the jungle has basically reclaimed a lot of it now, so you can still go in there, and it's like an ancient ruin.
Just started building.
Yeah, it's been half reclaimed by the bloody jungle now, so that would be interesting. And then you go to places like, I think, is it the Philippines, where they've got the island where when their relatives pass away, they take them over to the island, but they don't bury them. They just pick them a nice spot where their spirit can watch the sunset or whatever, and they leave them all on the surface. Yeah, can you imagine doing an investigation there?
Yeah, no, I don't know. It's as much as I want to say yes, I want to say no at the same time. But it's no different. Like, how weird would it be to go to Bali where they dig up their relatives, change their clothes, take photos, and put them back in the ground?
Yeah, that's weird. That, but I mean, I was involved with it. Well, I've been involved with a couple of TV shows, mostly they never got off the ground. One of them we shot a pilot, but and again, that one we actually shot at Green Hills, which is out the back of York, and that place is as haunted as it's actually closer to the hospital than it is to York. And we, like I said, we were involved in getting this show together, and one of the things we were looking at was visiting this island and spending a night on the island of the dead. But it never got off the ground. COVID came and everything got shut down. So
you're sleeping on my dad. Oops.
Yeah, James saying about you don't want to step in the wrong place.
Yeah,
Well, that's it.
You're sleeping on my dad.
For all of you Ghost Adventures fans out there as well, if you watch the earlier season, I think it was season 4, something like that. They actually went to Poveglia Island in Venice. Now that place goes off, but if you actually look into the history of it, if you look at the island, and I think it was Aaron walked across the little bridge, and he reckons he was sinking into the ground a lot. And
Palace Hotel is what they call it in Bali. Okay, I'm gonna have to look at that.
Oh, there we go.
Bear with me. I'm pulling it up.
But yeah, what they reckon is there were that many people dying in the plague that was sent over to the Poveglia Island that they couldn't bury them all. So what they did was they just basically created this. They put like a float out there or whatever you want to call it, and they just started throwing all the bodies into the water and decomposing the water. And what happened was there was that many bodies going in there that they just eventually went down to the bottom. And they reckon that second part to the island, because if you actually look at Poveglia on Google Earth or something like that, you can definitely see there are 2 parts to the island. They reckon the second part to the island that doesn't have the buildings on it is all formed on the bodies of the people that died during the plague pandemic. Now that's creepy. That's creepy as.
I'm just looking at the photos of this place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd definitely go there.
Well, we had, like I said,
like I said, it's been reclaimed.
Yeah.
There's other people that still go there. But
I can guarantee you, most of them wouldn't be taking K2s and all the gear with them. You know, you don't go to Bali taking all your ghosty gear.
I could see a group of maybe 20 people going through there with paintball markers and playing a game of paintball. Like that's that'd be cool. Not that I'm saying to face a property, but you know, that's the type of outlay
environment it is.
That's been reclaimed.
Yeah. Well, I think we've actually gone over our allotted time. We're over an hour now, so I think we're gonna have to call it soon.
Well, yes, we also had that big technical difficulty at the start.
Look, last week we couldn't get the text chat going. This week we had the text chat going, but then it went cactus as soon as we started to record. Next time we do a live show, which I don't know, it depends. Do you guys like the live shows? You'll have to let us know in the comments, because if you do, we can start doing these a bit more regularly, but we still want to do our recorded shows as well, because obviously with the recorded show we can doll it up with a few videos and this and that, you know what I mean? And subscribe. So yeah, subscribe if you haven't already.
From what I can find here, one story says that the real estate developer was a corrupt businessman, and his practices, and he was cursed, led to him becoming bankrupt. According to a second story, the hotel was open to guests and workers who just disappeared one night.
I've heard so many different stories, but you know, I go off what they tell us. But you got to remember, when you've got a driver telling you stories in Bali, a lot of what they do tell you. I mean, even though Gordon, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, if he's watching, but he's our driver and he's fantastic. But you know, they do like to keep you entertained.
Oh, 100%. You got to keep someone captivated to stay and come back and look at places. Yeah.
So I'm thinking about Wappa doing a. Oh, Carl's just come in, but I think you missed a lot of it.
Oh, how are we going, Carl?
Yeah, we are going to have conspiracies. Carl's conspiracies coming soon as well. So yeah, so we're going to look at doing some more public hunts soon. I did put a post up a while ago, but unfortunately life sort of got in the way and things happening. We've got a house that's half demolished at the moment because we've got a new kitchen going in soon, so we want to get that out of the way and let it warm up just a little bit more, and then we will start our public hunts and we will start our what Carl would be interested in is the CE5 type Skywatch nights and everything like that. So we'll be doing them. And if you want to come on the show, if you want to call in, let us know, and we'll
Ask
get you all
questions.
set.
Give us some new things to talk about.
Yeah.
Get our brains ticking.
Well, originally I was going to get everybody on to talk about their ghost stories and things like that. Tell us a good ghost story that you've heard, but we kind of got tied up on the York Hospital. That's because, I mean, that's got its own little legend behind it. That's
still going to be awesome if someone wins Lotto and buys it.
Oh, I wish. So,
Holiday House, if you will.
yeah, yep. And yeah, if you weren't here last week, Carl called in, and we worked out that Carl likes his conspiracies, so we said we'll have a section called Carl's Conspiracies, and we'll have him in to talk about them.
Here's the thing, though, with that sort of stuff, like when you've got conspiracies, as you call them, for like MK Ultra and a few other bits and pieces, like
Yeah, but
they
that
have
was
been
real.
proven to
That
be
was-
true.
that was real.
But they were still treated until they declassified the documents. They were still treated as conspiracy theories and still fall under the category of conspiracy theories.
Well, you got to look at, okay, you got Roswell. Okay, the first thing they did was the newspaper said that a flying saucer has crashed in New Mexico. The very next day, it was a weather balloon. There's a conspiracy straight away. Now, conspiracies can be all sorts of things, from the JFK assassination, Watergate, the moon landing, COVID.
Benghazi.
There are so many.
No, that wasn't a conspiracy. He should be in jail for that. But yeah,
Not all
anyway.
of them are paranormal, but they're all definitely interesting.
Area 51.
There's no conspiracy about that. That's real. It's just
No, it's what's there.
it's what's in there. That's the thing. And as we all know,
I told you so.
Bob Lazar has been proven correct. So Bob, if you ever watch this show, which I doubt you actually will, but if you do, you're a legend.
Tom was right.
Tom was right. Yep. Jeremy Corbell was right. What was that?
James said we're getting sidetracked.
We always get sidetracked. You know, it's not a show unless we get sidetracked somewhere.
Exactly.
See, it's Carl's fault. Carl came in and we started talking about
So
conspiracies.
that's where Carl comes in.
The power of Carl. Anyway, I think we're going to have to go.
Carl squared.
Carl squared. Oh, don't say
Send
that.
Bob the link. I don't think anything would happen with that. I was like, spam Nigerian hackers.
Oh, no, don't say things like that. We are going now anyway, so until next time, Jeremy can do the call out.
Bye.
Oh, wow, that was exciting. Keep it spooky, guys. We'll talk to you all again soon. See ya.